everybody, Dana here again, and welcome back to Tuesday Tips for Leaders of Volunteers. And in the United States this week and towards the end of November, we are celebrating the Thanksgiving holiday, and I thought a good topic for Tuesday Tips this week would be the 7 different kinds of rest. Now, most of us think about rest as naps and physical rest, and that's definitely number one, but we also want to think about how this week is going to go for us as leaders of volunteers. And in my experiences in the trenches and also consulting for clients, there's usually a little too much time off or not enough time off, where you're short-staffed because people are taking holiday days or volunteers want time off, or you've got too many people dropping in. And I talked about that in the previous Tuesday Tips, but I want to kind of focus on how in the holiday season in general and getting into this time of year can we think about different kinds of rest for ourselves to stay refreshed and restored and revitalized, and for our entire team of volunteers and employees. So physical rest, of course, pretty familiar with that. Now, passive rest is that nap time, sleeping, that kind of thing. But you can also think of physical rest as a more active type, which is yoga and tai chi or getting a massage, where you're still doing something, but ultimately stretching, things like that. It is kind of restorative and relaxing for you. The next of the 7 types of rest is mental rest. So if you're having to think and solve problems and be strategic and brainstorm all the time, it's nice to do what I'm doing today on a nice, gorgeous weekend in California. Get outside, get some nature, some fresh air, some sunshine if the weather and the part of the world you're in allows for that, and just kind of let your mind quiet down a little bit. And you can also choose to meditate or do something like that as well. Now, sensory rest, especially we're doing so many more screens than in the past with pandemic times and working more remotely. So getting a sensory rest of resting your eyes, having quiet time, getting kind of just that nice, quiet, dark moment where it may not be a full nap, but you can kind of restore your senses. And if you have a busy day in front of screens, you can also just take a 5-minute break away from looking at the screens and refocus your attention somewhere else, or take some few deep breaths and take that kind of rest from sensory overload as well. Find a quiet place, a quiet corner. And I also really love creative rest. That's number 4 on our list of 7. And creative rest can be what I love to do: music, arts, going and looking at art, whether you have a creative hobby or something that you love to do that feels restorative and gets your creative juices flowing. It's important to honor that for yourself and for your entire team, and kind of set some time aside and allow for that. And one of the most important in our jobs working with volunteers and community engagement is emotional rest. We're very often in this work people pleasers and needing to caretake and think of other people all of the time, no matter what sector we're working in. So understanding boundaries of being able to take time for yourself, take care of yourself, and really recharging with a supportive group of people around you, friends, family, loved ones, co-workers, other people on your team who are being supportive of you emotionally, and kind of the difference between someone who's a really positive, supportive friend or coworker, or someone who's kind of draining of your energy, and doing your best with boundaries to find that balance with who you have to work with. Now, that ties closely into number 6, which is social rest. So whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we all need different amounts and kinds of social activity that we find either recharging and regenerative, or really draining or really stressful. So knowing that about yourself is also part of that balance, and tying into that emotional connection is that social connection of what kind of socializing and with what boundaries and with what groups of people do you find revitalizing and recharging. And the last one, number 7 on the list, is spiritual rest. And there's a big difference between spirituality and religion or other definitions of faith, but you can think about it as whatever your belief system is or is not, that you do need time to just reflect, connect with yourself, Again, time in nature is ideal, or just quiet time, but this can also be meditating, praying, being in community, and whatever that means to you. So all of these types of rest are important. They do link together. None of them are siloed types of rest. And ideally, bringing your attention to this can help you find that balance, especially as we get into for many of us, are hectic holiday seasons of extra work, or being shorthanded, or having too many people to schedule for too many different things. So I hope you've enjoyed these Tuesday tips on the 7 types of rest. And I got my inspiration from this. There's a number of articles that have come out this year about this topic, but I encourage you, and I'm going to link to it, to watch the original TED Talk by Dr. Sandra Dalton Smith explaining the basic concepts of this, and I will see you next time.